Today I wanted to talk a little bit about my Doris Day Rose. So I bought Doris Day maybe a couple years ago from Barrage Nursery, and I think it has done quite well. I think out of all of the roses in my garden, it probably does maybe the best. It does very well. I think it does very, very well here in the Phoenix area. You can see it blooming right there. It does tend to be one of the first roses in my garden to put on blooms, and it blooms for a very long time. It's a floribunda, so it blooms in large flushes and big clusters, and I think it just looks very, very nice. And it does repeat bloom, so it blooms probably one of the earliest bloomers, and then probably even one of the latest bloomers in the garden, in my garden. Here is its card, the card that came with it when I bought it from the nursery. So I just wanted to show and read this description and see if it is indeed meeting the description of the card. So one of the things that I think about this card is that the color is a little, maybe not exactly, I don't know. You can see there they are. There's the card. I think the card does make it look a little more gold. I think in my yard they tend to be a little more yellow, true yellow. So the description on the card says, old-fashioned blooms are full of sunshine and will sweeten up your garden with their fruity and sweet spice aroma. Blooms are produced in beautiful rounded clusters on vigorous stems. The color is pure, even gold yellow. The habitat is medium, upright, and bushy. Bloom size is old-fashioned, medium to small clusters. Petal count 45 to 55. Fragrance, strong, fruity, and sweet spice. Comments, pure, even gold flowers, super floriferous. So, okay, so you can see it's blooming right now, so we'll just check it out. So here's Doris Day. You can see it is a floribunda, and it does like to bloom in large clusters here. I would say the card makes it look more gold. Here in my yard at least, they tend to be obviously this color that you see. I think it's very pretty when they bloom. They bloom a little more yellow, and then once they've been open a while they fade a little bit, so you get this really nice color, this nice yellowing color. I really like the way the flower petals look. They kind of have these ridges. They look really nice when they open. They're a really good size flower for being a floribunda. You can see so this one, if you saw, I did a video on the Oklahoma, and this one I watered at the same time as the Oklahoma, but you can see the foliage was a lot less affected. The foliage actually looks really nice and green. It didn't get the powdery mildew like the Oklahoma did. The foliage looks really good actually. I think that it has like a good strong cane system that it grows on, because it doesn't really nod down or droop down over the weight of all of the clusters of roses. They're upright. So I do really like that about this rose. This was one of the first to bloom, and it still has a couple of more buds, but it will be, unfortunately, it'll stop blooming, and it'll regrow some buds here. I think it does, like I said earlier, I think it does do pretty well with the heat. It's probably one of the last ones to be too affected by the really warm summers here. Once it gets to like 120 here, nothing's blooming, but I think that this will bloom further into the hundreds than a lot of the other roses will. So this rose right now is not too tall. It's not too big. It's a good compact size, I think. So I believe the card did say that the fragrance was it sweet and spicy or something like of that nature. I do think that these have a good scent. They're not extremely strong, and it's a bit lighter, but it does smell good. I don't know. I guess you could say maybe spicy, but I would say it's just like a really light, nice smelling fragrance. Smells good. And then also the thorns. They're not terrible. There's enough room on the stems usually to, kind of hold it and not get poked by a thorn. So I would say these thorns are reasonable. And then this one, I don't notice as many bugs on this as I do some of the others. Although I still spray it as much as I would any other rose. And then as I say that, we've got some aphids, but this one doesn't have any real bug damage or anything. Some of the other ones, I sprayed everything at the same time, so some of the other roses do have a little bit of foliage deformation due to bug issues. So I think overall this one's just pretty hardy, pretty healthy, and I've really enjoyed it in my garden.